Guys, I'm Tara. Welcome to another Crafting with Curly Cues video. Today I am going to make a bookmark with some really cute Paper Smooches images, and I'm going to try a new thing, and I am going to color in this rainbow with Stickles. So I'm using this Paper Smooches Spectrum stamp set. That was a tongue twister. And I am going to take this bookmark that is pre-cut. I bought these all pre-made at the craft store, and I have already mounted both of the stamps that I want to use onto the same clear acrylic block, and that just helps keep them positioned exactly where I want them to be. So I have stamped that onto the bookmark, and then I'm going to stamp the rainbow onto some Inka Dinka Doo stamping mask paper, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that rainbow out and create a mask so that I can do a distress ink background on this bookmark. So really, the motivation for this project for me was that I have used the unicorn that's in this stamp set like a million times because it's kind of the cutest thing in the history of ever. So I wanted to use some of the other stamps in the stamp set. So this is a really fun rainbow, and I just wanted to do something simple to really highlight that rainbow. So now I'm going to remove that mask and stick it right on there. I'm going to rub it down really nice and hard so that it doesn't lift up while I'm distress inking. And then I am taking a couple colors of blue distress inks. I've got some Tumbled Glass and some Mermaid Lagoon, and I am just going to start applying that distress ink to my bookmark here. I'm starting off my project and using some circular motions to go onto the project. I love my new Tim Holtz craft mat. It's not super new anymore, I guess. It's I've had it for a little bit. Anyway, this Ranger craft mat is really handy. It really glides well so that I can get my distresser onto my project easily without a bunch of bumps, which create large ink blotchy spots when I bump around. So I am just trying to, I'm realizing at this point that these two blues are actually really similar and they don't have quite the contrast that I was hoping that they would have. So I'm going to get out the Chipped Sapphire Distress Ink also, which is a darker navy blue. And I'm going to use that to kind of create a little bit more contrast at the bottom of the bookmark. I'm wanting like an ombre look going from the darker blue up to the lighter blue. So I'm just going over the bottom where I have that Mermaid Lagoon and adding just a little bit of that Chipped Sapphire and then blending it in with the Mermaid Lagoon and the Tumbled Glass until I like the way that it blends out with the ombre look. And I think that added just enough of a contrast there. So now I am peeling off that mask, and you can see that mask is beautiful white. I am saving that on my stamp set because I can use that later on a different project. It stays sticky for a little while. So here's my beautiful rainbow of Stickles. And I will list all the exact colors that I'm using over on my blog post. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. And I am just going to take the Stickles and literally paint in this rainbow. So I debated using a paintbrush for this, but I decided that the rainbow pieces were thick enough that I could just apply the Stickles directly out of the bottle, which gives it more dimension, which adds a little extra zing to the project also. So I have got my colors just kind of in the order of the rainbow, and I am just going to go through and apply each color in exactly the same way to the rainbow arches here. And then I do have my Stardust Stickles, which is kind of a clear, just iridescent-y one, and I'm putting that over the entire mass of the clouds here. So now that I have got that all filled in, it's so sparkly and shiny and super fun. I really love the way that it turned out. It is not something that I would do on a really complicated image, but something fun like this that you want to be colorful and kind of playful. It's just a really fun technique. And I have all these Stickles colors. There was a great sale on them at the craft store, so I stocked up. And I never know what to do with them, so I thought this was super fun. So what I'm doing now is splashing some water drops onto that Distress Ink background. This water does have a little bit of Perfect Pearls in it, so it is really pretty and shimmery to go along with that glittery rainbow. The distress inks are going to wick away from the water wherever the water is sitting on, and it's going to create a really cool bleached look. So after that sits on the project for a few seconds, I like to leave it probably 30 seconds to a minute. I take my paper towel and start blotting off that water. The longer that you leave it on there, the whiter those spots are going to become, so you can kind of play around with it and get some variation in your look, depending on how long you let it sit there. So I blotched all that off, and here I'm realizing that I got a little bit of water. I tried to be careful and not flick too much water on top of the rainbow. I should have done this while the mask was still on, but it was kind of an afterthought. So I'm just taking a paper towel and kind of soaking up some of that water and just touching it very lightly in the corner and letting it absorb up into the paper towel to get rid of that extra water. And then I went ahead and hit that with the heat tool. So now I'm just taking another one of those bookmarks from the same package, and I am just going to cover the whole thing with some adhesive from my ATG gun here. And I'm going to create a backer for this bookmark. So a couple reasons I want to do this. One is because when I was applying my distress ink background, some of that ink got onto the back of the bookmark, so it's kind of ugly. So I either could have finished the entire back with distress inking or cover it up, which is what I'm opting to do. I also, on this particular project, wanted a little bit of extra stability because that rainbow is entirely covered in liquid Stickles and it's warping pretty badly because it's so wet. It does end up drying a lot straighter, but I just wanted to kind of give it that extra stability to grab onto on the back of the bookmark. So that's why I layered two of those up there. So now I'm taking my crocodile tool and I'm going to go ahead and insert a grommet enforcer. I don't know what those things are called. I'm going to put this cool blue thing in the string hole at the top of the bookmark. So the crocodile tool pokes the hole for you, and then you stick this little grommet enforcer in the hole, and then you just put your crocodile on there and you squeeze, and it flattens the back out so that you now have this metal accent that's going to reinforce your hole. It's pretty cool. I really like to use it just for an extra little something, because I could have just punched a hole here and it would have been totally fine, but that adds a little extra something. So here is some navy blue lawn trimmings, and I just cut a piece off there and slid it through the hole, and I'm just going to tie a nice simple knot at the end and then trim off the ends to get it to be exactly the length that I want it. And this little bookmark is all through. Nice and quick project. It's going to be super fun to put in my little girls' books for school. So here's a close-up of that Stickles rainbow. Lots of fun dimension, way sparkly. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, don't forget to hit subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I have listed all the supplies that I used over at my blog, so you can go ahead and check that out there. Here I'm going to link to a couple other videos. I've got a Paper Smooches Mad Scientist. He's really fun in black and white. And then this mixed media canvas features the same type of background. Thanks, guys. Bye.